I had a layover in Ethiopia twice, and I was there, and I was randomly shopping, and a girl came up to me, and she could tell I was different. So she was just like, I just want to let you know that you and me, we are the same. We are one people. Like, you're black, I'm black. I understand your history, where you come from, stuff like that, but understand that we are family. We are together. And that just warmed my heart. I was just like, wow, I don't know this girl for nothing. You know what I mean? But she still wanted me to know, as an African American, and she's Ethiopian, like, I understand. We are still connected. I saw this video come across my timeline, and I felt like it was very relevant to what we do here. Shout out to
I love Jubilee. Oh, I'm sorry.
You guys might be familiar with Jubilee. They have a lot of different kind of people and opinions that come onto the show from different backgrounds and stuff like that. They come together, they have conversations, and I like shows like this because it can show, hey, we can have completely different views on these type of topics, but let's have a intelligent, logical conversation. We can agree to disagree, or you might be able to actually change somebody's perspective without people, going straight to the hands of violence and stuff like that. So this one is entitled, Did Slavery Affect Your Family? Africans versus African Americans, Middle Ground. Now, I'm debating if I want to give my opinion at first or just give it at the end. I'll probably just give it at the end. Oh. Carmen said she's ready. You guys
Can I get a little piece?
Yeah. You want a little piece? Yeah. Huh?
Because I got something.
You got something too?
But you go first.
Okay. Just the question at hand from the title of the video: Did slavery affect your family? Absolutely. Brief summary: African Americans in America have been deeply affected by slavery and post-slavery as well too, which is not really talked about. The Jim Crow era, the mass incarceration era, the redlining. Imagine being in the country and literally seeing your white countrymen come in, being able to buy houses, being able to get jobs, and you just can't do it just because of the color of your skin. This has led up all the way up until just the 60s or 70s. There's still after effects of that. So we're literally like the second to third generation of people who actually have true freedom in this country. And we still deal with racism, after the civil rights movement and integration, and everything. So yes, absolutely. If you guys want to see a resource that can really show you the effects of slavery up into today's modern age, I encourage you to watch The 13th on Netflix. Is a really great documentary that gives you a great timeline on how slavery and everything post-slavery has affected the African American experience in this country. Now, I know some of the critiques from immigrants or Africans or people from just outside of America coming to America saying, hey, you guys don't know how hard we have it where we're from, and we made it over here, and we was able to do this, and I'm black just like you. It's different.
The systematic oppression was deeply ingrained into our society and our everyday. There wasn't... we tried to make it on many occasions.
Oh, yeah.
And our towns, our inventions...
Stolen, yeah.
Anything that any progression was always repressed. We always took 10 steps forward and then took 100 steps back and then kept progressing as a people to this day.
Yeah. Imagine like the inventors, like you mentioned too. You have Benjamin Banneker who designed DC. You have a black man who created the lawnmower, a black man that created a traffic light, a black man or a black woman that created Coca-Cola, or all these things that are just
butter.
Jack Daniel, peanut butter, right? Like, there's so many things that we have created that we couldn't get credit for because of the color of our skin. So just imagine all of these wealth that's just left our communities, a generation that what we should have had.
Entire towns and societies that we still don't know the names of. And the only reason why we know of the ones we know of is because word of mouth.
Because they don't put it in our history books. They don't put it on text. They make it seem like this is the whole point of history, to make it seem like it never happened in the first place. Black Wall Streets. Look that up. It wasn't just Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's the most famous one. But there were Black Wall Streets all over the country. As Carmen was saying, have been burned down, rioted, looted. Like, this is whenever we had, because I'm going to be honest with you guys, after slavery, economically, we were doing well being segregated because we were forced to put our black dollars within our own communities, make our own schools, hospitals, libraries, movie theaters.
And that's just a piece of it. Let's not even get into the black trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have heightened senses as a people because we were being eaten, beaten, and made into furniture that people still own to this day.
Yeah. They literally use black people's skin in furniture. Like, it's just
hair, skin, teeth. You know, our president's first dentures, people's first dentures came from slaves.
So all that, did slavery affect you? So we can go on and on about it. I'm not going to do your own research.
Oh man, we'll be here talking all night.
Yeah, we'll be here all night talking about the effects.
Just be scratching the surface.
Right. I do want to hear the video and what these people have to say. We can probably give some more context. I'm sure we're going to be pausing throughout this video. Lo siento. If you want to watch the original video, the link is in the description. But we're going to give our genuine reaction and commentary on this conversation. I've never seen this video. I don't know what they're going to say.
Castration. I'm sorry.
They put art in jars. Like, okay, anyway.
Science experiments.
Tuskegee Airmen. Like, there's so much. The government killed Martin Luther King. God, there's just so
Malcolm X.
There's so much. There's so much. So yes, you can't say that.
We could just take turns naming shit.
Right. 400 years of slavery. We had to fight to prove that we were human beings. That's the number one. They didn't even look at us like human beings. They looked at us as animals. So we had to first prove that we were human.
Looked past tense?
Once we proved that, then we had to prove that we were a full human, because they're like, 3/5 compromise. Look that up. We were considered 3/5 of a person.
Medical discrimination.
Still going on today.
They don't think we feel pain the same.
Black women have the most issues when it comes to childbirth in this country.
And I'm a walking testimony.
It is insane. It's not, man. Planned Parenthood. Look up who the creator of Planned Parenthood and what her, man. All right. Yes, it affected us, okay? This is trauma. This is a long stemming of trauma. Now,
you know, they say black people's peripheral vision goes all the way back because we're so used to being on alert. Like, when I take your hand and see how far back you can see it without turning your head.
Yeah.
You know, the average human can't do that.
And then I said this before on the podcast, and I really do mean this. I believe that African Americans who come from, or just African people in the diaspora that had to deal, your ancestors dealt with slavery, are the strongest versions of human beings.
Circus acts.
Because what
Millie
we
and
endured.
Christine, those was my great aunties.
Yeah. Damn. All right. The transatlantic slave trade, any human being that survived that, if you guys looked at what the ships look like.
That's not to mention, once they banned slavery, anybody who's on a ship, they just burnt. They burnt the ship in the middle of the ocean with all the people and children on there. It's Just not let them go, not put them back, not put them on land, birth them and just let multiple in the hundreds of slave ships.
Man. Even before the ships came. Before the ships came, you had African people in the castles in West Africa. I've been to Ghana. I've been to the Cape Coast Castle. I've seen the conditions of what our people went through walking hundreds of thousands of miles just to get to this coast in chains, sitting there with the men didn't really have no way to breathe. There's no light. All just clumped up there waiting to be shipped.
In a basement with one hole.
Women just sitting there, menstrual cycle, shit everywhere. Just
being chained to a ball, butt naked in the middle of public for anyone to do anything to you. And once you were weak enough not to be able to fight and defend yourself, you would be raped.
Right.
And assaulted.
So
if you had your baby, they would take your baby. Mm-hmm. And they might raise it a little bit better than how you were treated. Just a little.
Depending on how it looked like.
Mm-hmm. Colorism. I can go all night.
We're going to get into the video, guys. I know you guys are like, it's been 5 minutes. I didn't even press play. This is how triggering this topic is, because you just triggered all my ancestors with that question.
In the hurricane.
Right. So, yes, all that stuff that happened, and I know some people are ignorant enough to say, well, that happened. That wasn't you. You didn't deal with it. Our great-grandparents were slaves. It's direct. If they weren't able to buy property, which is the number one staple in wealth in America, I
met my great-great-grandmother.
Yeah.
My great-grandmother's mother. I met these people in my lifetime.
Right.
And she could tell me what her mother's mother had to go through as a slave. That's not that long ago.
They make it seem like it was so long ago. Even, we talked about this before too, with Martin Luther King and the late, civil rights movement and stuff like that. They keep showing these pictures in black and white to propagandize and make it seem like it was so long ago when all those pictures were originally in color. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that long ago, guys. It really wasn't. So yes, we are still...
They ate us.
All that stuff does affect your family. It does. It absolutely does. But anyway... If you guys are new here, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. We're going to get right into the video right now. Thank you for waiting. All right, let's get to it.
God came here to better my life. And I feel like personally, we need to stop using the word racism when we don't get something or when something don't go our way. And just
let me jump in real quick. No disrespect, but racism exists, and I have to acknowledge it. And I can't just ignore it, but what I can do is not buy into the system.
Mm-hmm.
Everything comes down to racism.
Yeah. Whew.
Step forward if you agree. Slavery affected my family.
Yeah, I mean, that's just evident in my last name, King. I mean, that's the brand of the slave owner.
Literally.
Name on my family.
Forgot about that part.
Literally.
My last name is a slave owner's name. So yes, just by that, thank you, Kai.
Thank you, Kai.
The very first thing, my last name is the name of a slave owner. My language, my culture, my homeland, my name, everything was taken from me. So yes, just by that, I was affected.
Everything that we know as a people stems from slavery. Everything. Even down to the popular foods that we eat.
The soul food that is just literally the scraps
that we made good.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, guys.
Even down to using seasonings, but
I digress. All right.
Years ago, and I'm still wearing it in those ways, along with the compounded, economic disparity, social disparity, mental trauma, all of that. I mean, it's tethered forever.
So to go back to slavery and talk about post-traumatic stress disorder,
I know Skip about to give him the business.
So there is no post. What my great-grandparents were teaching my grandparents, who taught my mother, who taught me, came from what they learned through slavery. So there's a lot of fear, a lot of insecurity, a fear of society, a fear of law enforcement. So slavery has made a major impact where the low self-esteem is consistently reoccurring. I think for me, growing up in Los Angeles, California in the early 1960s, there was a stereotype that I didn't want to be black, I didn't want to be African because we come from Africa or we're slaves. So I want to be a Chinese boy, I want to be Bruce Lee. So growing up like that, I didn't like myself and who I was. I didn't like the color of my skin or the way that I spoke. So I emulated other people. I wanted to be something that I was not.
It's very saddening when you can literally only go back a couple generations and then it's like the documents just don't exist. There's no record. It's like, you know, my family has completely been erased. In that same point too, in the time that we've been here, we've created an incredible culture and we have so many things to be proud of. And I always reframe the narrative myself and I speak of my ancestors that were enslaved as, you know, doctors and healers, and it's like, you know, we were taken because we were talented, because we had skills to offer, and we built this country. So
and still building.
And still building. That's something to take pride in. So
Can the disagree a step forward?
If you've ever dreamed of
I got to hear this.
Because even now, I don't want to. Africa is just so big and has so many people, right? But you guys are the other side of the coin. You know, your family was taken from you. You know, some of your family was abused and mistreated as well. I mean, also, every single country with the exception of Ethiopia was colonized. The reason why you speak English, French, Portuguese is because they came in and said, this is what you have to do now. The reason why you have the religions that you do, all this stuff was brought in. So you were affected by the other side of slavery, which is colonization. There's different sides to the same coin.
I mean, as well as like, just as a people, history has been rewritten and, you know, the lines have been blurred so many times. You know how long? 400 years and we're still getting blurred lines of the fall of an empire.
Right. Yeah.
We, as a people, do not and will not probably ever know the truth outside of what was left to tell word of mouth. Like 400 years and we probably got the last 100 of it word of mouth.
You know what's, and you're exactly right. And I'm a living testament to that. When I went to Ghana and I went to the slave castle, and I was talking to the tour guide. He was extremely intelligent. Shout out to him. He understood so much about Black American history, so he can relate. He said, "Listen, I know what you have been through. I know that you were affected by this. Let me tell you something that they didn't tell you. We fought for you. We tried to get you guys free. Like they talked about so many revolts and different tribes and kingdoms that came to these castles and talked about some of the generals that they killed, some of the people that they did to free the slaves. So, but that's never taught in American history. I would have never known that our people tried. At least try, because every single slave movie we've seen, every single thing that we saw, it's like, yeah, they just took us with no pushbacks. I
feel like the only movie that I've seen that was like I'm not going to say a good depiction, but like gave me a better idea of that was that movie Woman King. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah.
That was really good.
I loved Woman King. Love that movie. I was not expecting to like that movie as much. Yeah, but
I agree.
Fire movie. But yeah, it took us to 2021 or 2022, whenever that came out, for us to see that kind of side.
Because it's like, it always boils down to the fact that every race of people in every country has always done slavery. No one did slavery how they did slavery to us.
Right. And it's almost...
And it was very inhumane.
It's almost disrespectful to call it slavery.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like you said, slavery is not new in the world, right? There were white people that were slaves in different countries and stuff like that, but there was nothing like the transatlantic slave trade that ever took place, where you can't buy yourself out of freedom. Like, you're born into it and you die in it for generations. That's never been done before. You being taken from your land to a whole different continent, changing your language, changing your culture, you being raped, you being beaten, all that kind of stuff in that kind of form, like it's really demonic. When you really know what happened, when you really understand what went on during that period, it is extremely demonic.
But then to also understand that prior to that, it wasn't like, oh, like the same outlook that, you know how we always talk about, like, oh, we have Animal Planet brain, like they make it seem like, oh, well, before that they were in mud huts. Like, no, right. We kings. Yeah. We taught, we were traveling the world. We empires. That's what I'm saying. We got the last bit of that 400 years on paper. That's what we got. We don't I'm not gonna say we. A lot of people don't understand that us as a people, they uprooted every piece of it. Yeah. So you could always think in that oppressed mindset that we was always the underdog. Right. It was actually the other way around. Exactly. That you had to strip and rewrite history so we can get to where we are right now as a society.
And this is why
successfully.
Right. And this is why this is the age of enlightenment. This is the age of information, because they no longer can hide all of it anymore. Before, they used to hide it in books. And they try to, certain black libraries weren't able to get certain information and stuff like that. So we were ignorant because we had no choice. Now, the internet is a thing. And now everybody, you choose to be ignorant if you want to be ignorant. But now, you can really look up all this stuff yourself. Timbuktu, the first university, these people came down there, the Egypt or Kemet, where people came down to Kemet to learn. Like, if you look at, I'm about to get into it. All right. If you look at the Vatican and you look at the Pope, they emulate and dress up just like the pharaohs did. Mm-hmm. They understood, they were getting knowledge from Kemet. Kemet was the first place in the world that said, hey, the world is round. They knew it already. They understood astrology, science, mathematics on a completely different level. And they were teaching the world. Everybody from all over the world will come to Kemet to learn this kind of information. And then when they realized, okay, in order to take over the world, the new world, we have to burn the old one. So what did they do? They burned Kemet down. They renamed it Egypt. Alexander the Great coming in, shooting off the Sphinx. No, just little things like that. We can't let these people know how great this is. Because
that's another thing. Like, wars that are being fought today.
Yeah.
It still goes back to that man that you just said.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like, when you do your research on manifest destiny and stuff like that, and I remember my first African diaspora class I took in college when I was at Morgan State. I actually took a class on this, and it just completely opened up my mind, because when I was thinking about slavery back then, I was like, okay, yeah, they brought, Africans from Africa into America. We did the slavery thing. I didn't know that only 10% of the Africans landed in the United States. 90% landed in the Caribbean and Brazil. Yep. And South America. Mm-hmm. We are all the people on this side of the continent that are black. I mean, yeah, there were some already here. I'm not denying that part, but there was definitely Africans that were brought from Africa here as well too. Mm-hmm. We are all the same, but just had different landing points. You know what I mean? And then what they did with the people that were already living here, because if you look at the Mayans, the Incas, the Aztecs, the Olmecs, you look at all these other ancient civilizations that were already in America that looked just like us too. And they killed all of them. They murdered all of them. And I'm just like, this is demonic. The whole plan. And they made it seem like they changed the story. Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue and discovered the new world and blah, blah, blah. No, you killed all of these people. When he landed in the Bahamas, when Christopher Columbus landed in the Bahamas, They treated him so nice, so well, giving him food, doing all this stuff. But they were so greedy for gold in this new world, he went back to the queen, and then they came back with guns and killed everybody in the Bahamas. And we were supposed to praise and celebrate this man as a kid. Like, now people now have sense, because now they're thinking like, wait a minute, maybe we shouldn't celebrate Columbus Day. He was a piece of shit, because it wasn't even, you can't hide it because his diary still exists. You can literally read you can literally read what he wrote about them being people already over here and what they did to them. So it's like, bro, I know it went down a crazy rabbit hole, but this is extremely triggering. But this is going to be a long episode. But yeah, all right, we're gonna let's get back to the video and see what they're saying. But
even get me started on the Black Cherokees.
Right? Yeah, yeah. There's so much. We're on minute 2. All right. Oh man.
It didn't affect my family, but we did suffer different type of slavery back home. Like, we went to colonization. Like, I am Bamileke. There was a massacre of Bamileke. You guys can like look it up. They killed like more than 300.
Let's read this. The Bamileke War is the name of the independent struggle between Bamileke Cameroon's nationalist movement and France. The movement was spearheaded by the Cameroonian People Union. Even after independence, the rebellion continued shaping contemporary politics. The war began with riots in 1955 and continued after Cameroon gained independence in 1960.
Mind you, this is like our grandparents' time.
1960, yeah, like my father was born 3 years after 1960.
Martin Luther King was just starting to do his thing.
Yeah, so.
Or stopping.
And a lot of these African countries are just now getting their independence. So they're baby countries. So all these expectations for Africans, oh, it's so this, it's so corrupt, it's so poor to do this. They're baby countries. They just got started. Like, when America just got started, it wasn't like the greatest country when it first began. No, it took time. But anyway. All right, let's see what he has to say.
My people, because we didn't want to assimilate to the French culture. Right. But it's still nothing compared to what you guys' ancestors like been through, you know?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, we're good. We here.
A lot of the things, the artifacts down to like the history that we know about countries like England and France comes down to the fact that their traditional values as a monarchy held their history up. America has always kind of been like a free state. In the sense of so many people have came in and out and ruled.
Right.
Versus the English has always had their monarchies. And I believe the French did too as well. But that's why they've been able to preserve their history so much. And their countries are not baby countries. They have had their system in place for hundreds of years.
Right.
Hundreds of thousands of years.
Right. And then my he said French. I have a different hate for France. I'm gonna be honest with you. Look
at what they did to Haiti.
That's the one. That's the one right there. We could do a whole episode on Haiti. What they did to Haiti, we should all be furious. We should all be furious with France. The audacity.
Look at where Haiti is right now.
And they blame it just to say, oh, they're just some black people who they don't know how to blah 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 blah. These people were the only successful slave revolt. And they made them pay for their winning. They blackballed them, prevented them from shipping, importing, anything like that for them to be able to grow. Haiti was once the most wealthiest country in the Caribbean because all of the natural resources it had. And then they stripped them of everything. They made them pay for their freedom. They just got... When did Haiti buy their freedom back? It was recent. Haiti paid off loan to France. Well, it's not a loan, but it should come out. All right.
1947.
So in 1922, the rest of Haiti's debt to France was moved to be paid to American investors. It took until 1947, about 122 years, for Haiti to finally pay off all its associated interest to the National City Bank of New York, now called Citibank. Oh yeah?
1947 was 122 years ago? That can't be right.
No. When they got
I was gonna say, I know somebody born in the 40s. That I think they might be scratching 100, but they.
So they said 1947 is when they paid it off because they got their independence.
122
years for them to pay it off. Yeah. So it took Haiti 122 years to pay off their debt. Just what Haiti went through. You got look at Hidden Colors, Haitian Revolution. You'll learn everything about Haiti in there. But yeah, anyway. Fuck you, France. All right, let's get back to it.
I wouldn't want to minimize that pain, though. What you just said hurt me. That 300,000 people were killed because they would not conform to the colonization of the French people. So that is just as painful and hurtful as the trauma that we suffered here in America.
I can't share the same experience that you have went through in your family, even though we also had our own type of slavery. We had apartheid at the time,
South Africa,
where the Dutch people took over and they wanted to just have South Africa, Namibia,
Dutch
and
too.
I think other countries where we could only just speak Dutch. It's somehow still happening even now. There's like a place in South Africa where
everything.
It's called Orania, and it's just Dutch people there. No black person is even allowed there. So we still somehow feel that oppression even now, but it's nothing compared to what your ancestral history, has gone through. I'm somehow happy that you guys have forgiven it, even though you haven't forgotten it. Have you forgiven it?
No.
More like can't do much about it.
Give me my reparations, and then maybe I'll think about it. What did Kendrick say? Give me Tupac a ring back. I'm glad we have a South African in the building too in this video, because South Africa, the apartheid movement was very similar, but different. And just to think about the effects of the apartheid, I know we have a lot of South African audience. Please correct me if I'm overstepping. But the separation, they created 3 races, not 2. In America and every other place in the world, it's black or white. In South Africa, they separated black, white, and colored. They literally made colored a whole separate race of people. And till this day, in South Africa, you can't tell a light-skinned person that they're not colored. The whole situation with Tyler, like they kind of been harping on her since now she's been more international and she's come to America. They're asking her, "Are you black?" And then she's responding,
No.
She's responding, "I'm colored," but because she's from South Africa, this is her culture, and they all have completely different experiences. So it's hard to tell somebody that grew up all their life, their ancestors all their life, like, "Hey, we're colored. This is who we are," and then for them to step outside the country and everybody's telling them, "No, you're black." You know what I mean? But
no, I know black.
Right, and I know there's mixed more than just white and African. They also have Indian people there. There's people from all over the world that came to South Africa and mixed, and that's how the colored people also came. But when you look like Tyler or light skin like that, like, you might be considered color. I might be considered color if we go to South Africa. But we understand here in America,
still nigga. Like,
and all the South Africans, like, come to America, you'll find out real quick what you are. But you know what I mean. Anyway,
I don't know. Tyler could hang out with the Indians.
Yeah. She does have family from India. She like Kamala Harris.
She'd hang out with the Ethiopians and the Indians.
Oh yeah. Ethiopians, I would say this, like, from my experience, I've actually had a lot of run-ins with different Ethiopian people.
Same. I actually went to school with a lot.
For real? Yeah, like
in passing.
One thing I know about the Ethiopians are very proud of being Ethiopian, and very proud of being black. They understand we are black. Like, you know what I mean? When I went to, I had a layover in Ethiopia twice, and I was there and I was randomly shopping, and a girl came up to me and she could tell I was different. So she was just like, "I just want to let you know that you and me, we are the same. We are one people. Like, you're black, I'm black. I understand your history, where you come from, stuff like that, but understand that we are family. We're together. And that just warmed my heart. I was just like, wow, I don't know this girl for nothing. You know what I mean? But she still wanted me to know, as an African American, and she's Ethiopian, like, I understand. We are still connected.
Right.
You know what I mean? And even when I go to Latin America, when I went to Colombia, I've seen brothers like, hey, my brother, my color. You know what I mean?
I have a coworker who's from Colombia. He is your complexion.
Yeah.
Has like hair like us. And if he don't open his mouth, he used to be like,
yeah. Oh,
like, he could be speaking some fluent.
Yo, one time I went to the Dominican Republic. I went through customs, right?
Matter of fact, I have a Colombian friend that I went to school with. And still nigga.
Yeah, like they bruh, like it's clear we're all related, like in some way, or we came from the same place. I went to the Dominican Republic and I was getting my passport stamped and everything like that.
Yeah.
The lady that was, checking me in, she was speaking to me in Spanish. And I was like, I'm sorry, lo siento, I only speak English. She's like, English? She got mad at me because she really thought I was Dominican.
No, really.
And she was just like...
as a Dominican black, passing black...
Yeah, she looked at me in disgust.
Come to me and they're like, you sure?
Right.
I'm like, yeah.
She looked like she was so ashamed of me and my entire family. Speak Spanish?
Speak it.
You know speak Spanish? And you come back to your homeland? I was like, I'm just regular black. I'm just regular African American black.
Walmart brand.
I'm sorry.
Just a great value. Like, we're the great value black.
And what a great value we are.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But yeah, man.
Not quite from the homeland, but still good.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, all right. Minute 4. Let's get back to it. Lo siento. I see, I remember that word. All right.
But me personally, no, I haven't. But I want to work through the change. But no, I haven't. Me personally, no, I haven't. Because it's a system that's still going on. And from what I'm hearing from you guys, there's a system that's still going on in Africa as well. And it's a war on us.
Racism is the main cause of poverty among black people in America.
Come on now.
Woo! Yo! Oh, Jubilee. Ooh, Jubilee. Let's answer these questions before they answer. Carmen, please.
Is the main cause? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the start. That's a start.
I would say racism is the cause of poverty among black people. Watch the 13th on Netflix. Do your research. But I would say I personally now choose not to let racism affect me in any way, shape, or form. I don't try to constrain to it at all.
I wouldn't say it's strictly racism. Racism is where we started. Now It's just I can always say Reagan did his number on our people. Like we are as a people, our growth has been stunted.
It's the ripple effects of what has happened. Like it has affected us, but I do feel like the ties are getting weaker and weaker, right? Even though
now with goddamn Now That's TV, Zeus and the Sexy Reds and
that's setting us back. I'm not gonna lie, and they're probably gonna talk about the hip hop community and stuff like that.
I mean, a lot of the stuff was like, don't get me wrong, I'm a full blown indulger, but to a certain extent, you got to start feeling your brain ride, and it's like, damn, we're kind of getting set back as a people. There are a whole, not one, not two, not three, multiple networks of subscription-based TV that are solely centered around black drama and violence in particular.
Right.
Where you sit around and watch people fight about nothing, not money.
Right.
Not money.
It's keeping us numb and dumb. I'm gonna be honest. Like we have to take accountability for that as well too. I don't want to just keep,
for sure.
We can't just keep putting the blame.
It started at racism.
Yeah, we started it. We
started there.
It's like we can acknowledge this is how we got here, but for the people like us who are like aware, like now we understand. Like, okay, we see what's going on. We see this culture that they're throwing down our face is saying that it's hard. We don't even own it. So that's the other part of it. The only person that owns it is Tyler Perry. So like his stuff kind of gets a pass because at least he owns the shit. You know what I mean? And he employs black people and stuff like that. He actually
bad wigs
pays, people fair wages and stuff like that. But outside of him, all this other stuff, Viacom, VH1, BET, all this stuff is not owned by us.
Why? Now looking back on it, why was Medea the only person with a good wig in all of Tyler Perry's movies?
Bruh. I don't know. I didn't know Medea was hilarious.
Because, notoriously, all the wigs, man or woman, are horrible. But Medea's lace front was never up for debate. I know that's right.
Do you believe that Tyler Perry only got to his success and stuff like that because he dressed up as a woman?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Let's get back to it.
I mean, he could have still wrote some phenomenal work.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, but
there's something to that demasculation of men.
Buck breaking. Yeah. It starts there.
Uh oh. Shots fired. Yeah, that's true. I do think it's modern day buck bracing.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and even I would say this: white people get it too, but when it comes to black comedians, it's just so apparent in black comedians. It's that they have to.
It's so different because even hundreds of years ago and now, just their community doesn't over masculine. They're what they look at as masculinity is completely different than what has been ingrained into the black community. That's why it's okay it's never taboo for Caucasian men to make certain jokes or do certain things, and it's never batted eyes about. It's just oh, you crazy white guy, whatever. But even down to the things that more so them as a people fetishize, cucking. That's a power thing because their source of power is psychological, whereas though in the black community it's physical or something that you can have tangibly.
Right. Yeah. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. Is racism what cause? Let's get to it. Okay.
Racism is a very big issue that talking about it, I'm really trying to be careful to not say anything that will be insensitive. If opportunity is right here, they will give it to people of other race than African American and Africans too. So if there's a job that maybe have math requirement, I feel like they'll pick an Asian person, or they believe, African Americans will not dress appropriate, so they will pick another person. They will always pick people that are not black over people that are black.
And I also think, I think the crucial missing point when we talk about economic disparity, time is the most valuable currency.
Yes, correct.
And if you have a stock that's the American dream is the stock, and during all that time, all that asset, the American dream was appreciating, and you're not allowed to take out business loans, you're not allowed to read, you're not allowed to write, you have to first fight to become 3/5 of a citizen, then you got Jim Crow, and then you got everything else. It's you're now having to buy in at a price so high because the time is irreparable. You can't get that back. One black person today cannot, in one lifetime, achieve what generations of white families were able to do simply because they didn't have to compete with us to do it.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with you totally.
Yeah, I was thinking, just like you said, from a historical standpoint, we start with slavery, then that's centuries, generations of stolen labor, like you said. Then we get into Jim Crow, which is just an extension of that. Then we have redlining, we have mass incarceration, we have events like the bombing of Tulsa and Rosewood, Florida, and all these different examples of our wealth being decimated. And I don't say that to come from a defeatist or a victim mindset, but I think if we just have an honest conversation about history and what we've gone through when we've been here, racism is definitely a big part of that. And there are a lot of successful black Americans, a lot of millionaires, a lot of business owners, but they're exceptions for sure for a reason. And there's a big difference between income and wealth.
Jubilee. Thank you.
I was gonna say we gotta cover more Jubilee videos.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was nervous. I'm gonna tell you, I was extremely nervous by clicking on this video, but you picked some intelligent people.
No, they don't miss.
Yeah, they
Jubilee
bodying it.
I will say that.
I was worried I was going to be some...
I'm an avid watcher.
You are? Okay.
Subscribe.
Yeah, I'm going to hit the subscribe button just because I was really, really nervous that this was going to be a drama-filled arguing back and forth and stuff like that. But the fact that you got some really intelligent people who get it. Like they've been all the stuff that we were talking about in the beginning. So like these are people who are well researched, understanding, and even the Africans that understand well too. It's like, no, I get it too, because they felt racism from colonialism, stuff like that on their side too. So yeah, I love this. I love this so much. All right.
I would like to challenge the ideal that African Americans are lazy or that we don't have a good work ethic. I think there's this perception that, we're here, we're in America, how are we not doing better for ourselves?
Right.
So.
Picture that.
Like I said, imagine being in the country, seeing everybody do well, and they just like, you can't do it, even though we live here and we're born here.
And then when you do it, they tear it down.
Right.
Every time. Every
single time. So it's not like it's not like we were lazy and didn't want to do it. We were the hardest workers. That's why Tulsa, Oklahoma, they bombed it. It's because Tulsa, Oklahoma was such a strong, prominent black community. They were doing so well. They were beginning to trade internationally. So the white local people got jealous. And they was just like, how are these Negroes economically doing so well without us? You know what I mean? So it was that hatred, that jealousy that sparked it. That one little boy that looked at a white woman out of an elevator that triggered a whole riot. That
Lake Lanier.
Yeah. Oh man. There's so many. I just found out that Reisterstown and or Randallstown in Baltimore, they put a dam in front of the Black Wall Street. There used to be a Black Wall Street, and then now there's a dam there. They will cover it up with lakes, like Lake Lanier. They'll cover it up with so many things. Central Park.
Mudslides. Central
Park was a prominent black neighborhood in New York City, and then they completely decimated all the highway systems in LA, Compton, Inglewood. Like some of these neighborhoods are thriving areas, and they just put a freeway in the middle of it.
Any city that you look up, you can Google it. I don't care what city you type in. Look up the Great Fire of somewhere in the 1800s. There's going to be a fire because they burnt everything down in any city. You can Google it right now.
Yeah,
Google all over the country. City, all over the country.
All over the country. Yeah. So
major city at that.
Whew, okay. Minute 6. We're getting there. Oh man.
I thought I was going to be the only one staying. I was going to be like, oh, I'm about to be like Kanye West. But okay, there's a lot of things we can use as an excuse to hold us back, not to reach our potential. But it's up to us to look past that. Like me coming from Africa, I came here to better my life, my family. I'm the only one here. And since I have been here, there's a lot of bad things that happen to me. There's also a lot of good things that happen to me. Us, African or African American, we need to look past racism and just focus on our own goal. What do we want to achieve? We need to stop using the word racism when we don't get something or when something don't go our way, and just keep trying.
So let me jump in real quick. No disrespect, but racism exists, and I have to acknowledge it, and I can't just ignore it. But what I can do is not buy into the system. If I want to do something, let me be the entrepreneur. What I believe happened in the 1960s is that we started looking for equal rights, to be equal with other people. And what we stopped doing, and I heard you talk about Tulsa, we stopped using the black-owned businesses. Now, because you guys got to understand, the Fair Housing Act in 1968, I'm 5 years old. That's when we could move off the east side of LA and move into other subcultures. So what I wanted to do at 8 years old was go to IHOP. I didn't want to go to the Ma and Pa restaurant anymore. I wanted to go to, let's go eat at the hotels. So what we did is stop supporting each other and started supporting corporate America. So the racism plays a major part, but we don't have to buy into it.
Right. I've been waiting to disagree with you, my brother. I'm waiting patiently. The thing is, even though I want to disagree with you, I get where you're coming from. When I see black people talking about racism, all that stuff, I'm like, what is wrong with these people? You guys have food, you have EBT, all these things, and you're here shouting about somebody is racist. To just leave that person and move on. I feel that way. Why are they always complaining? But when Black Lives Matters started happening, I sat down, I said, I need to actually know why these people are pained. And if we look at the history, what they've done to them, if you actually sit down, watch some documentaries, how they were maltreated, I don't think if I'm actually born, I will forgive those people. I don't care. It's easier for us Africans that were raised in Africa to feel like they're complaining because we were raised through struggle. I barely even have water, and you have water, you're complaining. But then it's not about the basic necessity or about how we are raised. We are raised I don't want to say way better. We might not have resources, but there's some way, like our own people will not look down on us or put us behind. So it's in their nurture that way. Like they just can't overlook it. And if you sit down and watch everything that the forefathers have been through for you, I changed my mind. No, they need to be angry. However, they keep moving forward.
I mean, we have police brutality back home too.
True.
We have, like, if you go to Cameroon and then you see how the police officer treat us, and they're black just like us, you're not even gonna believe it. You know, and in Cameroon we have this. Have you guys heard the word like tribalism? So
yeah, it happens.
Yeah, so we do get oppressed too. And so when
and it happens here in America too. Sometimes black cops are just as bad as the white cops because they want to impress the white cops.
That's worse.
Yeah, so like we get it. Racism has played a role all over the world. You know what I mean? Now I will say, I've been to Africa, and it's still like when I was in Ghana. Like I know Ghana is like extremely peaceful, right? It's very abnormal for a police officer to just kill a citizen in a traffic stop. That just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? When I was in Tanzania, they were just like, yo, if there was a mass shooting, like nobody will come outside for months. Like we don't do that here. You know what I mean? Like it's just abnormal to have that much
they
violence.
Might be outside within an hour.
Yeah, right. And it's like when you see, you know, they like a lot of Africans, and you guys can let me know. Because I talked to Africans who've never been to America when I was on the continent, and they were just like, I remember one of the guys telling me, he's like, I just want to see the White House. If I feel like I get to the White House, I feel like I made it to heaven. And I'm just like, and then I was working at the State Department at the time. I was like, man, I drive past the White House every fucking day, and I do not see heaven at all.
The White House is like a cool 10 minutes from me.
Yeah, like it's like, but the propaganda that was sold to them of how America life is and how good it is and how much money and wealth is here, that's their mindset.
That make America a great again picture that Trump paints to white Americans. This American dream. And that American dream quote that they used so much in like the 50s and 60s. Outside of black people.
Right.
Everything outside of black people.
Yeah. That dream wasn't for us. That dream was for them, not for us. And when we started getting a piece of that dream, like, no. But I see where he's coming from as well, though, because I'm not somebody that likes to make excuses. You know what I mean? Like, I understand why we are the way we are, where we got to and stuff like that. But I also mean now looking forward is like we can no longer use that anymore, because just like the older gentleman said, we have the choice to do group economics. We can choose to support black businesses. We can do that. But our people are so programmed. Whenever you see young black teenagers robbing Gucci stores or Louis Vuitton stores for all these fucking name brand people in Europe that don't give a fuck about you, and you look at these white
robbing whole vehicles. Fuck the stores. Fuck the stores. Somebody gets carjacked in DC at least once a day,
and we be hurting our own. You know what I mean? Like even when the Black Lives.
Somebody. Don't even let me get started.
Yeah. I understood, like, and I don't want to say the Republican side is right or anything like that, but I get what they were saying. Like when the Black Lives Matter protests were happening, right? We were literally burning down the places that we live. You know what I mean? Like, we should be angry and enraged for what's happening to us, yes. But why? We never think about, like, let's go fuck their shit up. We always fuck our shit up. You know what I mean?
Same reason why a nigga killed another nigga before he killed the police.
Exactly. It's that deep programming of,
like,
yeah.
You bet not.
And I'm feeling my Nigerian sister too. She's like, once she had to completely change her perspective once she did the research.
Yeah, I appreciate that she went out her way to actually do her research.
Exactly. Yeah, because
educate herself on the history.
Right, because of course, you know, coming from Africa, you can think like, yo, we barely got water, we don't got Wi-Fi. What are y'all complaining about? Y'all get this stuff for public assistance. What are you complaining about? But when she actually did the research and saw what our people went through, she was just like, how are you not angry? We don't even seek revenge. We just seek equality. That shows how peaceful our people have been. Like, violence is not natural for us in this kind of capacity. We learned that from them. You know what I mean? Like,
that's why they would.
That's how they got us out of Africa in the first place.
Yeah, and that's why they want to keep us oppressed, because they're always scared about the retribution that clearly, if it would have came, it would have already came. But we're just I'm not gonna say not built like that, but we're not like that naturally as a people.
We're just not. And they even the thought of it, they beat it out of us, and out of so many years from the buck breaking too. Like they'll take the strongest African that they can, and they would break him
in front of his peers, his woman, his children, and then send that man off to go mate, and then now we have generational trauma.
Right. Yeah, they will purposely, like, if them, you know, even marriage in slavery, they had to do it in secret. That's where the whole jumping the broom culture came from, because that's the only way that they sealed their marriage when they were slaves. When they find out, they'll separate them. They're like, oh, this man and this woman married and had a baby. Okay, we're going to sell him to somewhere else, or sell her to somewhere else too. Man, we can do this all night. This episode is dedicated to this video right here.
Text.
All right.
And like we need to like look past that. I'm not saying forget what happened to you guys or me. At the end of the day, we cannot just sit and just grieve on the past. We have to be able to move on, but not forget. If I could choose a place to live, it would obviously be my country. I love my country, but right now, my country is not the best choice for me. There's a little genocide going on in Cameroon right now. So many innocent lives are being taken. If I was still in my country, the opportunity that I have here, I would not have those opportunities there.
Hip hop reinforces stereotypes about the black community.
I knew it was coming. Y'all. How honest do I want to be? I'm gonna be very honest. Top hill, top